Hey everyone, it's Miranda. Welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, hey for the first time, why don't you subscribe, become the newest member of the Slashed Squad. Here I review products you won't feel guilty buying and do looks you can actually recreate at home. Today I'm actually gonna be sharing a look that I've been wearing a lot this season because my skin has been super dry and super sensitive. As you all know, I live in the desert, so it is really dry outside. I'm constantly putting on lotion, my face feels tight, it's uncomfortable, and when my face is feeling like this, I also get dry patches sometimes, and it's just not a great canvas for a full face of makeup. So today I'm gonna share a look and I'm gonna share the products that I turn to when my skin really doesn't feel like being covered, but I'm gonna cover it anyway, and it's just a lot more comfortable than my regular routine. Some of these products specifically are hydrating. Some of them just look better over dry skin than what I normally use. So without further ado, here is my makeup routine for when my skin is going crazy. Alright, so here I am fresh-faced. My skin is feeling so dry and sensitive. I did cleanse and moisturize it this morning, but still, it's just like, it's got this perpetually tight feeling, especially in this area here. So when my skin is feeling like this, but I want to put on makeup, I go for a face makeup or a foundation that is light, but will still give me enough coverage to kind of even out my problem areas. And I'm not only thinking about how it's going to perform while it's on, but also what's it gonna take to take off. I don't really want to put on a full coverage or a full face of makeup because I don't want to be scrubbing at my face at the end of the day. So something light, something breathable with decent coverage, but also I tend to go towards more radiant finishes when my skin feels like this because they're not as drying as matte finishes. So one of my favorite products to use over sensitive skin is the Neutrogena Hydro Boost Hydrating Tint. So this is marketed as a skin tint, but it definitely has enough coverage, for me at least, to cover up a lot of my hyperpigmentation and my blemishes. Meanwhile, it's very lightweight. You don't really feel it sitting on top of your skin, and it is hydrating, so it feels good while it's on. So it does have this built-in like doe foot applicator thing, which I usually just use to get the product on my face at first, kind of dotting it everywhere. And then I'll just use a damp sponge and blend that out. So this is what it looks like after one layer, but if there is an area where I feel like it looks especially red or there's a stubborn zit I'm trying to cover, I'll just go over it one more time. And this is buildable, so you can get a little bit more coverage out of it. And I just love the finish. Like I said, it's very skin-like, it's flexible, it doesn't look cakey or anything, and you get this natural radiance, and it just feels really good on my sensitive skin. It does contain hyaluronic acid, which is awesome for moisturizing. So that's that. My skin is already feeling better with this on, and it's looking so much more even, so I have a little bit more confidence going out like this, even though I'm not in a full face of makeup. Now, I'm so lucky to have aggressively dry patches on my skin every now and again, and it will often happen around my eyelids, which totally sucks, and under my brow hairs, which doubly sucks. So when this is happening, when I can see like flaky skin under my brows, I tend not to want to use a super bold or thick brow product because I don't want to like trap all that in there. So I'll use a brow powder, which is a lot easier for me to blend through with a spoolie, which also kind of gets any flakiness out of the way. So this is the Benefit Foolproof Brow Powder. I know this is not necessarily the cheapest brow product ever. I would actually suggest the e.l.f. Brow Powder Duos. That's a very good alternative. I just have had this laying around, so it's what I'm using. So I'll just go ahead and start filling in my brows with the powder, starting at the front and working my way outward towards the tail end. And because usually the rest of my makeup look when my skin is feeling sensitive isn't super glam or heavy, using powder for my brows kind of helps soften the look, so that way they're not like super statement-like and not really in proportion with the rest of my makeup, if that makes sense. A little bit more of a natural approach, if you will. So that's where we're at after the brows. Definitely a softer look than like the carved out brows that I tend to do when I'm doing a full face, which makes them a lot easier to take off, and like I said, more in proportion with the rest of the makeup look I'll be doing. Now for eyeshadow. So sometimes I'll just completely skip this step altogether if I am experiencing super flaky lids. However, if it's not too out of control, then I will go for a cream or liquid shadow. Using cream or liquid shadow tends to kind of smooth things over a little bit, doesn't accentuate the flaky areas as much as using powder shadows do. So there's this one product that I've really been loving over the past year or so to use as all over lid shades in terms of cream eyeshadow, and that is the CoverGirl Vitalist Healthy Glows. Now these are kind of multi-purpose products. They can be used either as eyeshadows or as face highlighters, but the deeper colors obviously work a little bit better as eyeshadows on me. I use the lighter colors on like my cheekbones. But these are the shades 3 and 5. 3 is kind of a rosy gold and 5 is a bronze, and these are the ones that I use the most as all over lid shades. So I'm gonna dip into 5 right now. Like I said, this is kind of a bronze shade with some gold shimmer in it, and I blend that all over my lid, blending outwards with my ring finger. And with these, I don't use any primer underneath. It's a very thin formula. You don't need to use a lot, and it tends to just stay in place. It's a set it and forget it product. And even with my oily lids, I don't tend to get any creasing throughout the day as long as I use a thin and evenly applied layer. So that's a fun way to just add a little bit of definition and pop to the eyes without doing a full-on eyeshadow look. And this product does not accentuate my patchy areas when they are around my lids. Now I'll further define the eyes with some black liner. This is the L'Oreal Infallible pencil that I use pretty much for every look anyway. It's just my favorite black eyeliner pencil, and it's not really that hard to take off with just a makeup wipe, despite it being a long wear waterproof product. So I'm just tightlining my upper waterline, and then what I like to do is kind of tap this onto the upper lash line towards the outer corner. And then I'll take a small angled brush and blend it out a little bit for a smoky effect. Bring it a little bit down onto that lower lash line in the outer corner as well. So that's what we're going for, just a very subtle, smoky eye. It's easy, it doesn't have to be really neat, so if your skin is not looking great underneath, it's not super obvious. So that's what the eyes look like so far, and I'm just gonna add some mascara to finish them up. So just quickly curling my lashes. You've seen me use this mascara on the channel many times already. This is the CoverGirl Flourish by Lash Blast mascara. One of my favorites for every day, but especially for sensitive skin, it's pretty easy to take off, and what I like about it is that your lashes still feel soft after it's applied. They don't turn crunchy or hard or anything. So it's just nice for everyday looks in general. It gives good separation, a little bit of volume and length as well. And even when you're generous with it, it tends to stay soft and easy to remove at the end of the day. All right, so the eyes are done, so I'm going to move on to finishing up the face with contour. The Physicians Formula Butter Bronzer, one of my favorites, but especially for when my skin is feeling super dry. For a powder product, this is actually really silky feeling because of the butters in the formula. And some might say, like, wouldn't you want to use maybe a cream or a liquid contour, but actually this is just so much easier to take off at the end of the day personally, so I stick with a powder contour when my skin is feeling sensitive. And this is the deep shade, by the way. This is one of their newer launches. They're kind of trying to expand their shade range because Physicians has been one of those brands that has kind of catered to more light to medium skin tones, medium being a stretch. So still, this is not obviously the deepest shade I've ever seen in terms of contour, but in the past I was never even able to use their butter bronzers until they released this deep shade. So I really like it, and I hope that they release some more because they're still a little bit lacking, but it's such a great formula. Everyone needs to be able to use this, seriously. All right, just a light contour there. Now I will be using a liquid blush product. This is the Pixi by Petra Sheer Cheek Gel. It is a very sheer shade that you can kind of just blend onto the cheeks for a light color. This is in the shade Flushed, and this little tube I believe costs $14, but you really do not need a lot. In fact, you don't want to use a lot. So I just start off with a little tiny bit and start dabbing it on my cheeks, and this can build up to be pretty dramatic, but it'll start out on the sheerer side, so you can just go ahead and keep reapplying until you get the color intensity that you want. But you can see already we're getting a nice pink shade. And it's just a very thin, breathable, lightweight gel. It just sinks right into the skin, and it actually lasts a pretty long while. For highlight, I just use whatever I'm typically using in my routine. This is the W7 Glow-Motion highlighter, and I just top off my cheeks and a little bit down my nose. Lately my lips have been insanely chapped. I'll exfoliate them and then immediately the next day they're still like kind of crusty. So I've kind of been laying off the liquid lipsticks because they don't always look the best over chapped lips, but there is a product that I've been loving because it kind of just smooths everything out while giving a nice wash of color. That is the Revlon Kiss Cushion Lip Tints. So these apply pretty creamy. You can apply them with a heavy hand and they'll feel like lip gloss, or you can apply a thinner layer and you will get kind of a stained look to your lips. This is the shade Naughty Mauve, which I've really been loving for this season. And this is the finished look. So this is definitely enough makeup to make me feel super put together, even though it's not what I consider a full face of makeup, even though maybe to some people it's like, it's got every step, it's a full face. But you all know from my tutorials that I typically kind of put on a little bit more than this, especially when it comes to the eyes. But in general, this particular selection of products are all very sensitive skin friendly, at least for my skin. They don't make it feel dry or tight. It just makes everything feel a little bit more comfortable. So this is a look that I've actually been rocking a lot the past couple months because of how dry it is. My skin has just been freaking out. So I thought I'd share this with you in case you are also on the sensitive skin struggle bus. If you like this video and want to see more practical everyday makeup tutorials like this, hit the thumbs up button. And if you haven't already, hit the subscribe button. It's free, but make sure you also turn on video notifications by clicking the bell icon so you know every time a new video goes live. I'll see you in my next one. Bye!